Welcome back to RFL. Some call it the genetic cocktail of Parkinson's, ALS, and Alzheimer's all rolled into one. It's Huntington's disease. It's a debilitating brain disorder that results in the progressive loss of both mental and physical faculties. Now, those impacted, they lose the ability to control their muscles, have difficulty swallowing, talking, walking, and eventually they become completely dependent on caretakers. The disease is genetic, and if you have a parent who has it, you have a 50-50 chance of developing the disease as well. It is estimated that 1 in every 10,000 Americans has the disease, and more than 250,000 more are at risk of having inherited. There's currently no disease, no treatment for it rather, or cure, but my guests tonight, they are trying to change all that. Michael Fleming and Michael Sullivan, they are raising funds here for cutting-edge research on the disease, and both of their lives have been personally impacted by Huntington's crippling effects. Mr. Sullivan lost a father, a grandmother, and several other family members to the disease, and Mr. Fleming lost a father to Huntington's, and his sister is living with it today. I want to welcome you both here. Thank you very much. And there's a great cause and a great event in our region we want to talk about a little bit, but try and put a human face on this, because I got to admit, like many people, I'd heard of it, but I didn't realize the scope of it and how, while it was once rare, it's becoming more and more common, and the timeline of this disease here and how it can really destroy families, there's so many tragic elements to it.
Correct, yes. The disease is tragic, it's horrific in every aspect, and it's sometimes called a family disease because it is hereditary, and it impacts every person within the family. Your open line and description about the disease is spot on. I would just add that it also can impact juveniles, and there's an element of those young ones, the juveniles, that are also impacted. Rare, but it strikes primarily in the prime of one's life, between 18 and 29 to 40, I should say. And the longevity of it makes it even more horrific. It lasts upwards 10 to 15 years. So my sister, Cara Jean, who our charity is named after, Team KJ, was struck with the disease, symptomatic as a professional. She was a school teacher, second grader, special ed, doing very well. Started showing symptoms, and people didn't understand what was going on. And of course, it's often misdiagnosed. And then suddenly, you know, with my dad's illness progressing, there was clearly an association where people put 2 and 2 together. Others want to deny it. But the point being that it strikes at the prime of one's life, and it's a slow, debilitating disease that you eventually lose your physical control as well as your mental capacity. So as you accurately said, don't have the ability to eventually talk, walk, or reason. So it's a very powerful and sad disease.
And Mike, this has impacted your life as well.
Yeah, my grandmother passed away from it back in 1986, and when my father was about 40 or so, he started showing symptoms, and by that point he'd already had children. And that's part of the big issue with this disease, is you don't know you have it until you've passed it on to your offspring. And then once you find out you have it, it's a powder keg and it's a death sentence. And you realize that because there is no cure. You're talking about treatment of symptoms that they really don't even really treat that well at the current time. So our charity is really focused on finding a cure. Because once you're diagnosed with this, they're telling you you have a certain amount of time left to live. And then if you have children, there's the emotional issue there as well. Right. And that weighs on you, whether or not you've passed it on to your children. And
then the other thing, as I understood, Mike, is for the family dynamics of these, to figure out who cares for whom.
Correct.
And then that impossible juggling act where you don't know. And then when you do know, this spans a long time, and it's a cruel degeneration here, and you have to see a loved one, you know, literally change before your eyes.
Yeah, it changes your entire family's dynamic. It turns everything upside down. All the plans that you had or anything you thought you were going to plan for have now changed once you found out that you're dealing with Huntington's disease. From the basic caretaking to the financial to the emotional to the physical, it's a burden on everybody.
So to your point and about the caregiving aspect of it, Rich, it is a 24/7 disease where because of the length of it, the cost, and Team KJ focuses not only on the research but education and supplementing some of those costs. Caregiving starts off, it has 3 different stages. Starts off with the normal channels, but you continue to incur additional costs because you have to change the house in terms of having a stair lift or a ramp or a wheelchair or a special bed, because now people are changing the way they can eat. The food has to be processed, nutrition. You have to worry about people choking. Those types of things are always front and center, so there has to be that very astute caregiving to the individual.
The disease has gotten some national attention for a few reasons. Jake Dow has been very open, but also the frequency of this. We mentioned at the top, this used to be considered a rare disease. Now it's increasing. Do they have any idea as to why, what environmental factors or anything is leading to more and more people having it?
I think, if I can jump in here,
please.
I think it's not so much that there's more people that have it. I think people have more diagnosis,
Exactly.
and people are able to identify it now. Whereas in the past, they thought, this guy was a crazy old man, or he was an alcoholic. A lot of times, part of the issues are folks with Huntington's disease have erratic behavior, and people pass it off as like, wow, that guy was normal. He must be drinking or doing drugs. A family friend of ours, his father worked for a pharmaceutical company, and his associate thought he was using the drugs he was selling for himself, and he ended up getting fired. Years later, it found out that he had Huntington's disease, and the gentleman basically approached the gentleman's family and crying, saying, "I'm sorry, I had no idea that's what it was. I'm terribly sorry. It's my fault that he got fired," type of thing. So there's all these very sensitive issues involved, and people don't understand it. I mean, I know my father got in a car accident at one point, and they thought he was drinking. He wasn't drinking. He had Huntington's disease.
I should tell for everybody, we have a mutual friend in common, and can't speak more highly of a person than she does about your sister. And to that end, she said this is really important because it's not just an awareness campaign, but these really help these families stay together here, because that thread of stretching dollars as far as they can, this disease lasts for a lifetime, or a long time, I should say, and it also is expensive, right?
It is extremely, and we're very fortunate that my family, as well as Mike's and others in Pearl River, have been the beneficiaries of Team KJ supplementing us with our additional costs, because as the disease progresses, we have more and more costs, and Caragene now has a full-time caregiver that lives with us, and we have other people that support that person on the weekend. So it's constant, and it requires funding that we frankly couldn't do on our own. So it's so important to us and others, the families, Mike, Mick Sullivan, and others in the community.
Well, we got an event coming up on the 13th, right?
That's right, yes. We had Mickey Sullivan Duathlon to benefit Team KJ. It runs the Sunday before Columbus Day every year. And last year was our inaugural event. It went unbelievably well. We had over 250 racers. It's a sprint duathlon where you do a 2-mile run, a 10-mile bike, and a 2-mile run. And last year we even had a member of our community that has Huntington's disease. He's about 70 years old, and he ran the race. Yeah. And
good for him.
He did a great job. His name's Bernie Neeson, and hopefully he'll be out there again this year, and we'll be pulling for him. And that's why we do these events. We kind of do it. The Team KJ was started to do small distance endurance events to get the word out there that, look, these people are an enduring fight for their life. And then following the race, we always have our post-race barbecue, which is open to all families, and it's a great time for the kids. And they have jumpy castles and face painters and live music, and it's an absolutely wonderful time.
The Mighty Creek does it right.
Yeah, right up there. We host that at the Pearl River Elks Club.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's a fantastic day.
Well, we're going to, and I just want to remind everybody, you don't have to be some world-class sprinter or runner or biker here to be part of this thing. You can walk the thing if you want to, but definitely we're going to encourage people to get out there. Again, that's Sunday, October 13th. We've linked all the information to our website as well. We've also linked more information about the disease. Again, that's at 8:30 in the morning in Pearl River. Again, Sunday, October 13th, and as mentioned, that post-race barbecue as well here. It's going to be taking a place as well. Now, for for more information and to donate or sign up for the race, here's what we'd like you to do. The website's at the bottom of our screen. Just head to fighthd.org. I'll give that URL again, fighthd.org. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much.